Hello, and welcome to this retrospective. And following on from last week's retrospective, where I shared that we moved everything over to Webflow to create a better experience. This week, I focus more on looking at the prototype of solving two problems in a publishing business, which is usually quite difficult in smaller publishing business. One is creating a semantic presence. So that's internal linking and further reading blocks and seeing if we can automate our work reasonably quickly and achieve that. The good news is the prototype works, and I'll also share the bad news. But here's essentially how it works. Rather than going into using AI natively and saying, hey, here is an article, scan through the text, see if there's anything similar that we've written, which always ends up with nonsense. We used vector embeddings. I won't explain it too much, but it basically it takes a piece of content and gives it a place. It's like categorizing it, but much more intelligently. And by having that, we can find very similar content very, very quickly. And again, there's probably a better explanation that I can do on that, but essentially that's what it does. And I created that, and it was, again, very easy to do working with the AI tools because they just helped write the queries very quickly and so on. So again, it's a validation, that collaboration, but someone needs to have the idea in the first place, I suppose. So what it does is it creates a further reading block and writes that block in the context of the article above. And I've been sort of testing it somewhat in production. And what it does really nicely is I am seeing that people are clicking through because the promise is there, but it does certain things badly. And I'll come on to that in a second. I use the same system to identify internal links. So you just feed in an article saying, hey, what's the other stuff we should link to and where should we place the links? And that actually works really well. It creates another Google Doc that says, hey, here's the paragraph. This is what you should link. And you can then make a choice. So I think that human oversight of that it's not entirely automated yet, but I think that's important. So the big learning is embeddings are brilliant at finding similar and related content. And the problem is, which I alluded to earlier, where I was saying that actually I wanted the further reading to be written in context with the article above, that Gen AI will rewrite the titles and summaries of those things in such a way that it creates expectations which the target content doesn't meet. So in essence, what happens, you recommend something and it goes to that piece of content and it's completely unrelated to what it says it's going to cover, if that makes any sense. The aspiration for this system is to become like a self-healing system, because one of the other things that usually doesn't work in sort of smaller publishing businesses, you're constantly generating new content, and the further reading or the semantic links just remain static. They remain the links that were right for that moment in time, but not, let's say, 3 months further on, where the semantic link could be to a newer article and so on. And the systems that do that are super expensive. But from my tests, I've seen that probably 80% there of creating it in such a way that it does become that self-healing system. So that's just going to be an ongoing work stream now that I've kind of started it and put it into production. When it comes to content, I think it's an obvious realization, but it's true. I think automation that helps and automation that erodes credibility, it's a fine balancing act. And that's where the oversight comes into it. And sometimes it is absolutely correct to put human oversight square in the middle of it. But at other times, if you think that, you're building this for scale and, we've already got 50 odd articles on digitizing events, you can't just be going yes, yes, yes to 50 things. So we need to build in the governance into the AI system so that the important decisions are pushed to the human, and the ones that it can find itself are just taken care of. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting and subscribing. I really appreciate it. And yeah, the project continues, as you may have seen, more around the business productivity now.